Hey, how's it going, guys? DVG124 back with another video, and I'm here with another album review. And I'm here reviewing the Aquabats once again in their, what is this, their fourth studio album, Myths, Legends, and Other Amazing Adventures. This is the follow-up and the sequel to the Aquabats versus the Floating Eye of Death and Other Amazing Adventures, which I ranked pretty high. I thought that album was quite amazing and a masterpiece. Uh, and I was quite surprised with this one. So obviously going in this one, high expectations, especially with big singles like Pool Party and Pizza Day. Um, really excited to see where this one takes us. This one was released November 7th, the year 2000. 13 tracks, 45 minutes long. Starting this album is Robot Theme Song. Um, this one's just a little opener. Like, it's not a full-fledged song. It's just an instrumental of some sort that really isn't doing a whole lot. They've had stronger, just instrumental type tracks in the past. This one really isn't that. Not sure what they were going for in this one. So I kind of rank this a 3 out of 10. Moving on to the next one is the first full song on this album. It's Hey Luno. And I believe the Luno character is actually on the album cover. It's that red fucking thing of some sort. And so that's the Hey Luno. It's the Luno character that Christian Jacobs created. And for the song, it's not overly bad. It's just the pace it's at is like a slower but like a happier type of pace. This isn't like a Aquabats song that you would think of when you say the Aquabats. It's not bad either. It's a decent opener to this album. Feeling a 8 out of 10 on this one. Next up we have Pool Party. This is a classic. I mean, the nostalgia hits, catchy, simple. It works. The guitar riffs are amazing. The drums are crazy. I mean, sometimes less is more. Well, a lot of times less is more, and that's really where they went for this one. Brought it back to the basics, made it more rock, took out the trumpets and saxophones and all that stuff, and just made a catchy rock song, and it really does work. This song is timeless, and feeling a 10 out of 10 on this one. Following that one, we have potentially one of the greatest Aquabat songs to ever exist, and that would be Pizza Day. Pizza Day is one of my favorites. It's not like my favorite, but it's one of my favorites. And it's just an incredible track from start to finish. The storytelling is amazing. It's catchy, it's powerful. I mean, the lyricism is amazing. All of it just blends together really nicely. With a song like this, it's really easy to mess up. You can have a great concept and just mess it up by shitty lyrics. The instruments don't blend together as well as they could have. But with this one, it was executed perfectly. This to me is a perfect Aquabat song. 10 out of 10. Next up, this is where we see the album start to take a little bit of a nosedive in quality, production, everything. We have Dear Spike. Again, this isn't a bad track. This song is I'm more of leaning on the good side on this one. Dear Spike, Aquabats, it's Aquabats type of song, the type of song you'd expect from the Aquabats. Dear Spike, I'm feeling a slight 7 out of 10. Next up, we have I Fell Asleep on My Arm, and this album is just going to keep taking this nosedive for now, where we have some of the two best songs we've heard in a minute, and then we get Dear Spike, not great, but probably good. Then we get I Fell Asleep on My Arm, and this song is just mid. It's just mid all day. It's just mid. I don't like to talk about mid in shitty music. That's why I was kind of avoiding this review for a while, because a lot of these are fucking misses. I Fell Asleep on My Arm, mid. This doesn't sound like the Aquabats. It sounds like a lazy, crappy something they put together in like 5 minutes, just to like pad out the runtime. They needed something, so throw this in there. Not a good song, but it's mid. 5 out of 10. Next up, Radiation Song, and this plane just keeps on going down, and it's showing no signs of stopping. No signs of stopping until it's on the ground with all passengers dead. Radiation Song is somehow worse than I Fell Asleep on My Arm. It isn't mid anymore. It's officially bad. It's below that 5 out of 10. Radiation Song, 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Now, this is when we start to see a little bit of life. One of the plane's engines come back on. So we're not just free falling to our untimely death. One of the engines are back. We're levitating again. We're going with Adventure Today. This song is a good song. It's not great. It's not but it does what the Aquabats do. It's a normal Aquabats song. It works fine. It's not a great track either, but it's good. It's good. Adventure Today, 7 out of 10. And boy, was I wrong. That engine is that one engine that was working for Adventure Today is just gone. Now this plane's really fucking going down. With Worms Make Dirt. What the fuck? Worms Make Dirt. I'm not gonna talk about this song because of how bad it is. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. Moving on. Next up, Adventure. No, we said Adventure Day. The Baker. And we're consistently keeping this shit mid. The Aquabats have always been able to. They've been able to drop mid tracks. But they always come back with a banger. Like with Return of the Aquabats, they'd have bangers sprinkled in there. Or with the Fury of the Aquabats, where they'd have a mid track, and right after would follow a 10 out of 10 track. This one's just having mid song after mid song, just all mid. And we're seeing that in The Baker. It's quite literally talking about someone like bakes pastries. So it's really not that deep. The Baker, 5 out of 10. Moving on, Danger Woman. This one was actually made like entirely from Chad Larson, aka Crash McLarson, their bass player. And looking at that, I was like, oh shit, maybe we're cooked. But no, the song's actually not that bad. It's actually on the good side. I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10 on this one. Yeah, kind of a step in the right direction. We haven't really had any 8 out of 10s in this album so far, which is a little disappointing because every Aquabats album is like infested with 8 out of 10s. You know? Next up, we have Sandy Face. And God, this album just fucking disappoints me on all fronts. I knew this album would disappoint me, but not to this level. I didn't think every single track would be this unlistenable. But Sandy Face is just... It's like, why? Why even release it? This shit wasn't finished. Like, y'all rushed each other. Like, they had all the time in the world to make something listenable, and they didn't even do that. They just went and rushed it, and it resulted in a whole lot of mid. Sandy Face, just not it. This is a horrible end to this album, and pretty disappointing overall. Next up, we have the final track, The Wild Sea, and this one actually isn't all that bad, and it actually wraps up this shit storm of an album quite nicely. This is the most Aquabat song on here, especially to end the album. One quick complaint: this track in total is like 6 minutes. Once when it hits 4 minutes, it goes silent for a minute, and then adds on some bullshit at the end to basically pad out the runtime. Because without the 6 minute track, I don't think this breaks 40 minutes, and I think they were worried about that. You know, so they're worried about not having a 40-minute album with 13 tracks. 7 out of 10 on that one, the final track. So that's it for Myth, Legends, and Other Amazing Adventures. This track list was not an amazing adventure, except for 2 to 3 songs brought you on an amazing adventure. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Least favorite tracks gotta go with Worms Make Dirt, which I gave a 1 out of 10. And Sandy Face I gave a 4 out of 10. And Radiation Song I also gave a 4 out of 10. Realistically, those. I mean, yeah. I mean, we didn't have any threes. Threes or twos. We had one, and two fours, five, no six, and then some sevens. No eights or nines, and two tens. So overall, this album's just quite mid. Pizza Day and Pool Party bring this album up tremendously. Without those songs, this album, I I don't think I'd ever listen to it under any circumstances. Favorite tracks, I gotta go with Hey Luno, Pool Party, Pizza Day, from worst to best uh, in that order. That's how it is on the track list. So yeah, Pizza Day probably the best song on this album without a doubt. And yeah, that's Myth, Legends, and Other Amazing Adventures Volume 2. Overall, feeling a strong 5 out of 10. Strong 5 out of 10. So that's going to do it. See you in the next review.